So my name is Laura Moore. I run a company called ClutterClarity. I've been doing this for 35 years. It started way back in the 80s when Oprah made organizing, professional organizing famous by bringing somebody in Peter Walsh from Australia. And that is when the word decluttering really entered the lexicon, our lexicon. I don't remember using it when I was little. Did any of you use the word clutter or decluttering when you were children? Right. So this is very much a cultural evolution that we're now cleaning up or taking care or bringing our homes and homes and lives back into balance. So one thing I wanted to address, I'll be using the word pronoun she more often than not, because as I said, I talk mostly to women. I will work one-on-one with men, coaching on Zoom, but my decluttering support group, Women with ClutterClarity, is only for women. Don't feel rejected, it's just a different conversation and collaboration of women. It soon becomes like decluttering with friends, because we learn to care about each other and support each other. It's a weekly meeting that shows up, and one-on-one, it's weekly. And the reason that is because of accountability, motivation, prevention of, if you feel stuck, I just want you to have an attitude that together everything is figure-outable. Together everything is figure-outable. So talking to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women, maybe thousands at this point, of course, I started noticing patterns. And our worries are all the same, almost verbatim. The solutions are not. But there's some ground rules. It's like a recipe. Follow the recipe, and then you adapt the recipe to fit your unique personality. Okay, so I want you to go from drudgery to discovery, from flight, fight, or freeze to figuring it out, or finding out the solution that's right for you. So you go from drudgery to discovery. And that's when decluttering really becomes an opportunity to reflect on what adds value to your present life. That's what decluttering is. So I started noticing that these women who are educated, resourceful, talented, well-traveled sometimes, they've solved many challenges in their personal and professional life, but when they opened up the closet, it's like, oh, I'm not going there. And there's procrastination. So one of the things I'd like to suggest is that you never force yourself to declutter. You wanted to get in a position of power to choose how to declutter in a way that's easier, more comfortable for you. The biggest mistake people make is to force themselves to declutter. And what that does is it's just so painful. If you are having resistance, like how many of you may feel overwhelmed, okay? Or stuck, or resentful. Some people do. You never want to declutter your partner's stuff without permission, okay? Then you will be resented, okay? You go around them and take care of the stuff that's yours. Okay, overwhelm, exhaust. How many people are already tired? Okay, so I'm very fond of Acton because one of my clients, she died during COVID, actually, but we were still meeting once a week for 2 hours outside. We were in her 4-bedroom Acton house, mid-century house, and she came to a presentation like this. And then she came to another one. And then she came to another one. I thought she was going to drive me crazy. I go, I'm being, can I talk to you? Do you want something? And she was checking me out. And so she finally hired me. I thought she was going to drive me crazy, and I fell in love with her. And I learned a lot from her because I asked her 6 or 9 months later, I said, "Why did you choose me?" And she said, "Because you told me I can keep what I love." And I laughed, and I said, "This woman would rather do anything else than decluttering." She knew how to have more fun than I did, and she did have more fun than me. She'd rather do anything, but she finally got to that age where she knew that it was time to finally take care of the stuff in her home. And by the way, I walked into the house and my knees kind of went weak because I too can get overwhelmed. But I have this message in the back of my mind that I've learned to trust, that everything is figure-outable. So just because you don't know the answer yet, reassure yourself that the answer may be right around the corner. If you ask me or your friends, what would you do if you were me? That's your ticket to freedom. The first person might say something you don't want, or that would never work for me. Second person, okay, and you go research it, nah. Third one, now that's a good fit. You see, I want you to collaborate with the community around you to come up with the answers. I'm only one source, but if you turn to the person sitting next to you that you don't live with and go, what would you do if you were me? I promise you, we would solve all those questions today. So much of the most important thing you can do is stay connected to your community. And I didn't really understand the power of that until I was forced to go online, Zoom, and my business shut down March 20th, my in-home business shut down March 20th, 2020. And I said, now what do I do? I guess I need to figure it out. And so I was forced to go online, and I had to create groups because there were so many people decluttering to make room for all the people who were now stuck inside. So the groups turned out to be a wonderful thing because A, they're very affordable, B, they're very community-based, C, they help you stay motivated and accountable. So the number one thing that causes people pain is to stay isolated in this. Shame and embarrassment is the number one barrier to decluttering or asking for help. And I just want to let you know, we never declutter alone. You may lead, you may take the decisions, but we need this whole community of people and resources have developed around us. You know, the thrift stores and the recycling centers and household goods and my service and other estate planners and attorneys and young men with muscles and trucks. So please know that everything is figure-outable if you connect, stay connected and engaged. Okay, and not hide out. There's nothing, when I go into people's homes, they're a little embarrassed, but then I tell them, I'm really kind of like you. I have stuff I have to pick up after myself. I just had learned how to do this work without getting upset. Can you do the work without the upset? And I just want you to know that with practice and learning a few skills, you don't need brain surgery, you just need to learn a few skills about how to get ready properly, so that you can just show up and take care. How many of you have already moved out of your large house and are now in a 2-bedroom? So are all of you planning to move or staying at home? How many are planning on moving? Okay. And how, in a year, 2 years, 3 years? When a CCRC accepts you? Okay, there's a 3-year waiting list now for CCRCs.
What's CCRC?
Pardon me? Oh, Continued Care Retirement Community.
Where's that?
Where?
Yes.
Household, Newbury Court, Carlton Willard, LaSalle Village, all of those. Okay, so now would be good because one thing that people feel is trapped by their age, their health, their stuff. Okay, and it only gets harder if you wait. So the trick is to learn how to do the work with relative ease. Never force yourself to declutter if you're already upset. Okay, you deal with the upset first, then you declutter. You understand? You first, stuff second. So there's 3 skills besides stuff management you'll see on the handout. Relationship skills, time management skills, and emotional management skills are the 3 prerequisites. And I realized that these incredibly capable, resourceful women from all different walks of life are trying to declutter without knowing how to take care of themselves while they're doing work. And they were causing self-exhaustion, overwhelm. I said, oh, it's not about this stuff at all. It's about how to take good care of yourselves while you're doing the work. Okay, so this woman in Acton, she was extraordinary. The house looked like a hoarded household. Not as bad as you see on the TV, but every single room was full with piles of stuff, except, well, even her bedroom. Every single room, and her 3 children had stopped staying overnight. They'll come for dinner and leave. Okay, so this bothered her. So you need to be attached to your motivation. Like, why are you even bothering to declutter now or downsize? Some people feel it's their responsibility. Some people feel like they're guilty. Some people don't want to be a burden to their children. And this woman, she taught me that you can have a very, very full, messy house, but it doesn't make you a hoarder. So please refer to yourself and your friends as maybe an excessive accumulator, a little bit of a shopper, a collector, a pack rat. Okay, but hoarding is a mental illness that even I don't work with hoarders except if they're cooperative. That means they basically follow directions pretty well. So take care of you first, stuff second. Now, if you look at it, there's 5 ways. Oh, let me finish the story about Acton woman. So it was so amazing. This woman would come in and she would get down on her knees and with her butt up in the air and her hands in that coat closet and pulling out all the shoes and the boots faster than I could get there. So she was still able-bodied, at least at the beginning, and what I needed to do was slow her down. So you never want to attack your stuff. We've been taught a way to declutter that's very aggressive. You know, attack your stuff is really be done once and for all. Get rid of your stuff. I want you to do the work with respect. Respect for the stuff, respect for your history, and more than anything, respect for yourself. When we go through the stuff, you go into the stuff to decide what is clutter and what it's not. And before you leave today, I'll hand out another handout about the 4 criteria on how to decide what clutter is and what it's not. Okay, but do you understand how you can have a messy home with very little clutter? Or you can have a perfectly organized room and 90% of it could be clutter. That happens after a death often. One person I got a phone call with, well, my husband died 2 weeks ago and I'm ready to clear out his stuff. You can pick up the tone. And I said, she was angry that he died and angry that she had taken 6 years of her life to take care of him after taking care of her mother and her father and her sister. So if you've been taking care of people for a long time, by the time it comes to your clutter, you might just sort of go, you know, I've had enough. Okay, and that needs to be respected. Okay, there's basically you do as little as you can to keep your home in balance. That's the idea of decluttering. It's not about getting rid of stuff. It's about bringing your home and life into balance. Why bother? Because you're less annoyed. So you're not tripping over your stuff emotionally or physically in your house anymore. Why does that matter? When you leave the house, you're not already angry at something. Or when you come home and see the piles still sitting there, you don't just fall into a depression. You see? But let's say you've really had it. You're not going to declutter. You're sick of thinking that you shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I just write a $20,000, $25,000 check to the next generation and go have lunch. I'm not joking. Your next generation would really appreciate that you're not taking them for granted. And they won't make fun of you in Thanksgiving after you die. Remember Mom, she couldn't let go of all the Scotty dogs? Okay, so how we've been thinking about this, we've learned that clutter is bad. And what I notice that women do is then they say, they morph into clutter is bad, I'm responsible for the house, so I'm bad. And so feeling bad is one thing that we want to lift off your shoulders and not take it so personally. Decluttering is a universal activity that we all need to be doing. And if we haven't been doing it for 30, 40 years, that's okay. It might be time to do it now, though, or not. So you own the decision and own the consequences. Because I can talk about the logistics, but how many of you have the books in your home, have read about decluttering and organizing? How many have the books, right? It's not lack of effort. Oh, come on, I know more of you have these books in your home. I see you. You never opened them. There you go. Yay, that was very honest of you. That's true. You read the first chapter or so and you put it on the shelf. Okay, logistics are not enough. Okay, because what's missing is motivation. And we're distracted. So we're motivated by emotion, not logic. So to stay motivated, you need to reason, all the reasons in the world. Everyone knows they need to declutter or downsize or get ready for, getting older, whatever you want to call it, but they can't seem to get started. Does this sound like anything that you're experiencing? Yeah, you just can't seem to get started. You have to identify the motivation and drop it into your heart, out of your head and into your heart to stay motivated. It's even in the word, E, energy, motion, okay? So if we're not motivated, we have to make time, we have to make the intention, we need to make motivation. Those are verbs. You're not gonna feel like doing it, okay, until you drop it into your heart. The number one mistake people make is to do too much, too hard, too fast, and too short of a time. Okay, we've been taught to, okay, you roll up your sleeves and you throw yourself into the basement or wherever, and you work for the day. And what this does is cause exhaustion or overwhelm. Or you look around and you go, is that all I did? And you then make pictures of the future and go, I'll never get through this if it's going to take this long. Okay, so you need to actually slow down and do it in little bits regularly through time for a year or two, every week, 2 to 3 hours a week. And you'll get through it in a year or two. This is a good thing. You don't want to knock yourself, he's smiling, he's going, I don't think so. Okay, so if you show up regularly, you have to build a routine. Can I see this for a minute? Okay, so you need to practice a new mindset. There's nothing wrong with you. It's your mess, but it's not your fault. We grew up in a culture that bred us to accumulate. Okay, and then we have Martha Stewart had a magazine in the 90s, I think, that made generations of women totally neurotic. It's like, oh, the perfection, okay? Women have been trained to be perfect, and if it's not perfect, they're not good enough. And then they're afraid of making a mistake, okay? And the biggest fear is to live with regret forever. Why? If you hurry, you will make more mistakes, just like driving down 128. If you hurry, you're much more likely to crash or miss the turn that you needed to take. So you need to slow down and show up regularly for sustainability. Okay, otherwise it will be like this. Okay, I'm gonna do another 6 hours. You don't want to work every day. Well, maybe 15 minutes to a half an hour every day, one drawer, one cabinet, okay? And you putter through your clutter. You don't attack your clutter, okay? You see, the attitude is very different. So practice a new mindset, build a support team. A support team can be, well, that's the spirit of the decluttering support group that I do every week. But you also have best friends. Or how many of you know people who've already decluttered and downsized that you like? You want to go to people that you like and trust. Why don't you go to them and say, you know, I'm a little stuck right now. What would you do if you were me? The answer's right around the corner if you stay engaged with the inquiry. You see? So instead of drudgery and stuck and thinking maybe I should know what to do, what's wrong with me, go, wow, I guess I need to go find the answer. And one answer is not the same for another person. Do you see? Set realistic goals. One of the biggest challenges is that you think that it's going to take less time than it will. And then people think that they're slow. And you're not slow, you want to be steady. And you want to give yourself time for your rational mind and your emotional mind to come together. Okay? So 3 days ago, I was talking to somebody in Idaho. And a lovely, lovely woman. She actually hired me in 2024 and got sick and then came back in 2025. So she scanned her downstairs basement, where she's working. And I'm sitting there seeing it for the first time, and there were a lot of guns on the walls. We don't go there. I don't even mention it. But I realize I'm in a culture that shoots. She's not dealing with that, though she does bring it up. I don't know what I'm going to do with with my husband's guns. I said, nothing. Don't go near them. They're his. You don't want to go where you don't belong, okay, if you want to stay married, okay, or make it less stressful. So she showed me the room, and she was proudly saying on Saturday, we met the week before, we scheduled, see the second handout? Time, energy, and relationships. So we had set the time. She had decided to do it for 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday and Tuesday and Thursday to declutter papers in a desk so she could move exercise equipment from her bedroom down to the basement. Okay, she got going. She did wonderfully on Saturday. She was happy to report to me. And then Sunday rolled around and she said, I just didn't do it on Sunday. And I said, why not? Guess why not? Overwhelmed? No, but she was when we first started working. What did you say, Betsy?
Oh, I just said something better came along.
She didn't, yeah, there's always something better that's going to come along when you're decluttering. You got to be really, keep on coming. Say it again?
She moved to the basement?
She what?
She moved to the basement?
She moved to the basement.
And the guns probably bothered her?
No, she just didn't feel like it. Even though she had a very successful Saturday, couldn't wait to tell me about it. Sunday rolled around, and she just didn't feel like it. Okay? This is something that we need to have a little talk to ourselves about. So emotions, if you ran your life on emotions alone, we'd get into trouble. Okay? So she needs to say, reconnect to her motivation. Why are you bothering to do this at all? So her rational mind and her emotional mind can come together and create a wise decision, which is, I want the stuff out of my basement and I'll do what it takes. But she had disconnected from the motivation. And by the way, there was nothing forcing her to do this work except that she wanted to feel better in her own bedroom. But you know, I can do that on Monday. I can wait another day. You see, we got to really come to what is ours to take care of. So the group or one-on-one coaching keeps you motivated and accountable and teaches you the skills on how to come back. And then I texted her all week, how you doing, honey? How you doing? And she's telling me now that she's showing up 2 hours every other day. And her husband will help her bring everything down. Then it's not her job to lift all the equipment. Actually, he has a bad back, so I suggested you get a truck with 2 young people to move the equipment. So a lot of the work, wherever they are, it's amazing. This Zoom thing took me to Europe and Istanbul. And I know, I still go, wow, they speak English. And the conversation is largely the same, but the solution really depends on who you are. Okay, so 1 through 5, you want to make time, you want to make a routine, you want to make motivation. Are you going to keep these?
No.
Are you going to use them? You're not going to keep them? I can tell. I read a lot of faces. Oh, you got to keep a sense of humor. Okay, the essential tools. You want a notebook, not just your cell phone. You want a notebook with the date at the top and the day and the date. And then you have a running list of decluttering projects. Okay? And you want a calendar, one that has hours in it, not just the one that's on the wall with months and days, but with actual hours. And then time management, good time management is great stress management. Instead of wondering, how am I going to get it all done? You spill it out of your head, onto paper, into your calendar, into your life. But the attitude is, oh, time management, how boring is that? It's like one more thing I have to do. We call it time finesse. And with the attitude, and this is true, with the attitude of time management is as creative as choreographing a dance. You're literally telling people or telling yourself when to show up, on what day, what hour, okay, and who's going to twirl you up in the air. And then you come down and you on your toes again, and you then finish your dance. Do you see what I mean? You decide where you're going to be. Think of it as morning, afternoon, evening. And if you actually choreograph your dance, it's a beautiful thing to just put decluttering. Decluttering, 2 hours a week. You can do that on a half an hour basis or even 15 minutes. But what's most important is to do it regularly. Why? It's just like everything else. You'll start seeing results faster. But you don't want to start, if you're already resisting, I don't want to, can't make me, is something I run into a lot, even when they hire me. It's like, okay, here we go. Okay, I'll go sit over here. You let me know when you want to start. I never fight with my clients. I go, now would be good, but I don't fight with them because they're used to the fight. Okay, so you go, okay, let me know when you're ready, or I'll help you when you want to show up. And they'll sit there sometimes. Now, these are reasonable women. These are reasonably highly educated, accomplished women, and they're still having trouble getting started. So the whole point is, how do you make it easier? And having a team of support really matters. We never do this work by ourselves. That's where we get into trouble. Like somebody called me and said, I want an estate planner, a estate sale person. And I was going to refer them to somebody, but when I learned more about them, it was the wrong person. You see, so I need to get to know you a little bit in order to refer people to you. Okay, so you need a clock. You need that timer. I'd like you to put a timer on every 30 minutes or an hour, because we're so drilled into getting stuff done that we work way past the point where our body's been already telling us that we're tired and we need to take a break. But we push harder and harder in order to get it done. Why this is a problem is it takes longer to recover. And then your poor little mind is going, I don't want to do that again. And think of overwhelm as protection, okay? Protection, you're not ready to do the work yet. You don't want to go head to head with overwhelm, it will always win. But there's a trajectory where if you pay attention to your feelings, don't indulge them, but pay attention to them, you can say, you know, it's time to take a break. So I teach people how to pace themselves instead of push so hard, okay? Time management, emotional management, and relationship management skills. How to negotiate instead of nag. How to ask for help without defending or justifying yourself. I was just on the group. Somebody said, oh, it never occurred to me to ask for help from the attorney, because she has a belief that she thinks she should already know the answers. Okay, she's now has an appointment with the attorney. She did 9/10 of the work, and now she's going to the attorney to check the things she doesn't know. See, connected to your community instead of thinking you should know how to do this. It's incredibly emotionally complex, but it can be very liberating, right? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I was hoping for is how to pick, you've got this mess. How do you pick your own criteria for what to get rid of all the stuff? And let me give you a really simple example. Clothes.
Okay.
You know, if I haven't worn something for 2 years, maybe it's time to get rid of it. If it doesn't fit anymore,
Right.
get rid of it. You know, so I was hoping for
the criteria.
Yeah, that kind of
Okay,
advice.
well, you're right on target here, because I knew that would come up, as it needs to. I think we copied enough. Actually, why don't I give this to you first, and it will answer your question. Okay, so you need 4 criteria to decide what is clutter and what is not. And to use your example, sir, how many of you have clothes that you no longer fit into? Okay. How many have? How many of you have an overstuffed closet? Okay. All right, the first thing you do when you're decluttering, you sort first. You don't just go into the clutter and try and take care of the whole closet at once. You don't ever do everything. You choose priorities. So what I suggest you do is separate the clothes that you no longer fit into from the clothes that you're currently wearing. That means within this year, okay? And so your regular closet is clothes that you can still fit into, okay? And then just take the clothes that you no longer wear or like or love or use. You see the 4 criteria? That fit into your current lifestyle. Your current lifestyle is, I might be in a wheelchair, or I no longer ski, or I don't go out into the cold the way I used to. Okay, so what you do is tell the truth in the present, not the story, not the person who might have given you that beautiful shirt that no longer fits you. You look at the object and separate the story, okay? And you go, what is true for me now? Love, use, space, lifestyle. But the first thing is separate the clothes that no longer fit you or that you don't even like that much and just put them in another closet, or put them in a bag and put it to the side for a month and then donate them. Don't even go through that. Just sort for what you love and use now, this year. Does that help?
There's a problem with that.
Oh, hold on, sure. Then you go, then you at least have cut down half of the clothes that you don't have to put in your face every morning when you're dressing. So why you sort first is because it makes you feel better, because you go from everything to, well, this is good, I can handle this. How you feel matters. What's the problem?
Once you don't see it anymore, then let's say 5 years down the road, you dig it out, you can't even take it to consignment stores, throw the other stuff.
Oh, okay, so what is your
And the
question?
material
What's
has-
the
I'm just
problem?
saying, out of sight, out of mind may not be
Okay.
a solution.
Out of sight, out of mind is what's called clutter blind. You no longer even see it, what somebody else would see. That's clutter blind. That is, you're at the tipping point where your brain is smart enough not to see it anymore because it upsets you. Okay, so you stop seeing it the way other people see it. Let the people that you're donating to, no rips, no stains, but donate clothes that you can wear, somebody could wear again, okay? It's not our job to go through everything and decide in the universe what will people want. That goes to a thrift store or Salvation Army or Goodwill or thrifters or savers, and they decide. So they're part of your team of support. Your job is to get the stuff out of your house and to take care of yourself emotionally while you do it. Okay, so the work is sequential. Sort first, declutter one category at a time. So you have your closet, then you go, well, I'm going to start with long pants, or I'm going to start with winter pants, or I'm going to start with my sweaters. So you break it down. It's called diminish the project until you go to the point where I can do that. But you never want to look at everything that needs to be dealt with at once. That just flattens us. That flattens me. So the feelings that you're having about decluttering are not about decluttering. It's about how to manage a project sustainably through time that really does require your attention. And there's lots of ways to do it to make the work smaller. Does this answer your question? Okay, great. What would you like?
This may be later on in the talk, but this part of it is good. Clothes or paints or punch bowls that everybody seems to have with 12 cups on them.
Those punch bowls.
The thing that really seems stopping is where to get it to after.
Okay.
That seems overwhelming when I...
Well, what you need to do is sit down and think it through. You want to do more thinking, less doing. Okay, so this is your community. You figure out who takes household goods. By the way, you could have brought that punch bowl today, and we could give it to household goods. Let me know where you live. I'll come pick it up for you. Okay, so you build a team of support, like where are you going to take your stuff? Ahead of time. Like where are you going to take your clothes? Really, let them decide whether it's sellable or donatable, but you cannot believe what people need, what we can afford to give away. So don't try and control the destiny of the clothes. It will go to a good enough home, okay, just simply because somebody picked it up and said, I could use this. And they might be silly, they might have tons of clutter in their house. But they pick it up and take it to their home and it's off your shoulders. Yeah.
I bought a punch bowl once
We're on the punch bowl again.
for one party, and it stayed in my garage for years and years and years. And I put it on free cycle. It went in one day.
That's right. So do you know about Free Cycle and Facebook Marketplace? Okay. Or you can have a yard sale. Yard sales take about 5 days out of your life. And then 2 days at least to recover. And again, when you do a yard sale, make sure you have young men with muscles and a truck, because anything that doesn't sell, then you can put it on the truck and off to Savers it goes. You see, you do not want to bring the stuff back into your home.
What are the places that you just said? Would you repeat that?
Savers?
No, the ones on mine.
Free cycle.
Of Free Cycle and Facebook Marketplace. Now, every decision you make takes or replenishes your resources. Time, money, energy, space. So go ahead and try and sell the stuff for the nickels that you might get for it. And you just might take 2 hours of your life. And these conversations, well, how big is the bowl? Is there a crack in the bowl? And then you have to make sure that you put it out in the garage. You don't want strangers to come into your house. So you need to decide whether it's worth it to you. What you do with your stuff depends on how you use your resources. And we all have a unique combination of resources.
I mean, one of the things that our neighbors do is they had a growing family for a long time, and what they would do is when the kids got beyond a certain age, they would put stuff out on the curb and just put a free sign on it.
That's right. That's right. But if your kids are adults, it might be good to ask. Okay, and you say it's their job to declutter their stuff, and they say, "Oh no, Mom, I'm never going to get to it. I'm fine." You know, they're on the other side of the country raising their own children, or whatever. But once they say, "No, I don't want anything to do with it," you can do whatever you want to do with it. Okay.
Oh, we do? Who gives that permission? This is the biggest problem I have. I have a whole basement, child lives just 10 minutes from me, and she does not give me permission to get rid of her junk.
So what you do is you tell, "Dear lovely daughter of mine, if you want."
Threatened like that.
Well, you got to follow through on the threat. So you go. You have to build, instead of nag, you go to negotiate. Okay, so you go, "I'm going to give you, if you haven't decluttered the basement in the next 6 months, I'm having a truck come and pick everything up." And if they're used to you not following through, this takes a lot of courage for you to finally get that truck and take it all away. And then your daughter, what they do is they're upset for a few minutes, and then they're kind of like, "Wow, Mom, that was pretty cool that you did that."
I did that with her closets.
There you go. So you negotiate, but you go from your stuff to their stuff and then the community. So you ask and use that phone, take photos and say, "Do you want this?" But if it's really, if they're of a certain age, let them do the labor. And then you say, and then, "Okay, are they coming home for vacations, holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas?" Don't go out shopping, go into your home. It's the best store in town, and start giving your stuff away. Appropriately, to people you think that would really love it.
You said you had a great, I've gone blank.
That's okay.
Suggestion of places to donate or to give to, or whatever.
Right.
Can you, do you have a list of it? Can you?
No, Google has a list for them. I mean, sure, I have a list, but it's, some are closed, some are open, they have different hours, but you go, ask, where would you go to donate your kitchen stuff today? I mean, where would you go? There you go. Where would you go to donate your clothes? The thrift store, Goodwill, Savers. Where would you go to donate your tools? D, 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 D. Where would you go? To buy tools or to donate tools?
What's the place that the Savers? Habitat for Humanity.
There you go, Habitat for Humanity, or a vocational school. And then, see, you want to let it go in a way that feels good to you. The goal is not to get rid of your stuff. The goal is to choose how to deliver it, how to recycle it, how to give it back to your community to use and enjoy.
How about China?
Oh, China. Yeah, which China? Well, actually, a very nice thing to do is very rarely, I mean, it has to be a very top of the line China, sort of rare for anyone to spend money on it, but you can put it on free cycle if you want, but you have memories. And this was the special China we brought out in our family, so you have an attachment?
Somewhat, but I'm ready to get rid of it because I can't take it with me. I hit these roadblocks, like I get motivated.
Right.
I make a decision, and then I hit all sorts of roadblocks along the way, like, should I just give this away?
I know, and when we have this, should I, could I, would I, is there a better solution? Is that, right, so we're afraid of making a mistake. So China, one of the good things you can do with China, I think, is that you have a set of 12, break it down into sets of 4, and donate it to household goods, okay? Because it depends on the China. But if you break it down and make it look like a set, you know, if I was homeless, I'd like a nice piece of China to serve at Thanksgiving. Okay, so call household goods in advance going, I have this great idea, are you interested? And they go, no, and you go, yes. You don't then collapse and go, there's no place to take my china. You go, I guess I need to sit down and figure it out. And you discover the solution. So you go from drudgery to discovery. And then it actually feels good, not just because you're delivering it to the community, but because you're exercising your power to determine what to do with your stuff. And that's a really beautiful thing, to have an intention and motivation, and you stayed with it, and you discover something that actually feels good, and you come home and go, wow, that was great, let me do it again. You see?
Just a slight caveat to China is the older it is, the more likely it is to have lead, and nobody wants to take it.
That's true, so you have to do research on whether it's lead. Thank you for bringing that up. So in Provincetown, and I learned this by visiting, and there was all this really nice cobblestone or something on the driveway of a grocery store that's closed now. Guess what he did? He put, it was all people's china in the community, and they came over and they smashed the china onto the driveway to make gravel. He didn't want to pay for it to be paved. And so everyone started driving over their grandmother's china, and it was just beautiful colors everywhere. There's a solution for it all if you stay connected. It's just an amazing, amazing experience. I know, it still gives me goosebumps. Yeah?
What would you do with a coin collection?
What would you do with a coin collection? Sell it. Okay, so you go on this Gloria Google, and you ask, Dear Gloria, I live in Acton, Massachusetts, and I have a coin collection I'd like to sell. Please advise me. And 3 or 4 options will come up. There's coin collectors and dealers. You know, if you have, does that help? Or does anyone have a coin collector that, you know, that will buy coins in the room? I don't know somebody at my fingertips, but I would go to Gloria. She's my best friend. If I don't know what to do, I know where to go to find the answers. I don't expect to know everything. So go on Google and say, in this area, or in Boston. Okay? Anything else?
What do you do with old albums, photograph albums on that black paper with the white corners?
What do you do? Did you hear the question? What do you do with the old photo albums with the little white corners? I know, I still look at those, and I still have a little bit of a sentimental, you know, attachment. Oh, I remember looking at these photos with my mother. You take the photos out, and you throw you throw it away, or donate it to an artist. Maybe they can use it as a display for, you know, little collages or something. Any other ideas? What would you do with that?
Genealogy in the family. I have a niece that does, she wanted all the photographs she could get her hands on.
Her question is about the actual
The
binder.
pictures. You talking about the album or the pictures?
No, the album.
Oh.
But I have a friend who moved. Before they moved, her husband took all their pictures and made books of each year. So what you could do is take those photos and make a book out of it.
Well, yes, she's not asking about the photos, though. She's asking about what do you do with those books that held the photos. So, you know, it's your time and energy, your space.
I'd like to turn it into a tape, some sort of tape that I can distribute to other members of the family.
A tape?
The pictures.
Oh, the pictures. Okay, so a lot of people are dealing with pictures. So before you take them to part of your community is have services that actually make those books for you. But before you do it, you still have to declutter the photos. Okay, so
I don't have a problem with that part.
right, good for you. That's great. Okay, so I'll tell you briefly a story. We only have a couple more minutes, but I can stay here as long as you want. I intentionally don't schedule anything after these events because I might be a little tired. But I'm feeling energized by your questions. It's incredibly powerful work to bring your home and life into balance, but not if you feel motivated. If you're not motivated, not if you're kind of a little tired. Not
We have a swap shop in town.
right, swap shop.
We bring stuff.
Every town should have
They
them.
take out back too. fake stuff. It's not.
Well, yes, there's a point where, actually, okay, I just worked with somebody online in the group. She had a collection of cups. She had she loved cups, teacups. And so she said, what am I gonna do? And I said, well, you start by sorting the ones that you love from the ones you don't love. Then you decide what you're going to do with the ones you don't love. And you put the other ones back into the cabinet.
Take them to Provincetown.
Right, take them to Provincetown. So then this beautiful thing, she said, but I love cups. Okay, it's kind of like I love books. The truth of the matter, we don't love all books the same, but we glob them together in our mind. But when you look closely at books, somebody said, oh, I've already done my books. And I said, not with me. And it was amazing. And all the books went to a family of hers that the house had burned down, they lost everything. And so we have a destination place for everything that's coming out of her house is going to this family, including the books. So if you want to really be of service, find somebody whose house just burned down, or a woman who just got beat up and kicked out of her house, or, you know, there's so many people who need what we can afford to give away. So somebody said, I hope there's somebody out there who will want this. And I said, there's 300 million people in United States. I'm sure we'll be able to find somebody. So you have to have a mindset that somebody will want your stuff. You're not getting rid of it, you're re-gifting it back to community. You see, how you think about it makes you feel better. If you feel better, then you can do the work and stay motivated, and it's so great. So the idea, though, is if you want to be doing this, do it regularly, weekly, ongoing. If you can't get started, just do 15 minutes every day or 15 minutes every other day. Why? Because you're teaching your brain to show up regularly in a way that doesn't stress you out, and you start saying, oh, this isn't as hard as I thought. And then you put the stuff in the car, and then you actually take it to where it belongs, or you hire somebody to take it. You see? If you have sons or daughters, bring them into the equation if they're nearby, or leave them alone because they're so stressed out already.
I have a question about recycling, because
Recycling?
we recently had all our VHS tapes digitized, which were family movies, whatever. And then what do you do now with all those VHS? All those videos?
What do you do with all the VHSs after you transfer everything over to a DVD?
I want to recycle them properly.
Well, then you go to your town and say, how can I let go of these VHSs in a way that doesn't pollute the earth? So you don't want to do it aggressively. You need to sit down and pick up the phone or go onto Google. You see, there's an answer for it all. Okay, I'm happy to stay here for a little bit longer, but do you see the creativity? It's your mess, but not your fault. We grew up in a culture that taught us to accumulate, and it's now time to put our toys away, basically. So in the beginning, I wanted you to really understand how you feel matters. You don't want to indulge your feelings, but you want to include them as feedback of how to get ready to do this work. And if you're really resisting, please feel free to give me a call. Maybe I'll just have one session with you, and we say, find out what's getting in the way of doing the work. Because it doesn't have to be so hard. It can be really liberating. So 35 years, I started seeing patterns. All the worries are the same. Everyone in my group, the best thing they see in the group is, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. Okay, this really helps. And you see patterns. The solutions are different. Clutter is only the result of decisions that we made 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 70 years ago. Okay, and our grandparents taught us, I might need this someday. The Depression was nearly 100 years ago. That's a very good belief to have when you're going through a depression. It's not necessarily appropriate today. If it's $20 or $25, give it away, donate it, okay? If you need it in the future, you can afford to get it another one. The goal is to get the stuff out of the house in a way that feels good to you. How you feel matters. Do not override your feelings because you'll crash and burn. So thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer your individual questions. Please give me your email, and I'll send you a copy of Paper Clarity, and thank you so much. You're a wonderful audience. Bye. Bye.